Hello, I'm David Kerr and you're watching Shalom World News. Here's your latest news headlines from around the globe. Poland and Hungary have signed a cooperation agreement on humanitarian policy with a focus on helping persecuted Christians across the globe. The concordat was signed on August the 17th, announcing the bilateral agreement. Hungary's State Secretary for the Aid of Persecuted Christians, Tristan Azbej, said their collective desire to help others is rooted in the two nations' Christian cultural background. He stated, however, that they wish to channel that aid directly to those in need rather than through large non-governmental organisations who, he said, often ignore the plight of persecuted Christians. Meanwhile, the Polish Deputy Foreign Minister Paweł Jablowski described both countries as not just partners but friends with shared values on a number of questions, including, he said, the plight of persecuted Christians across the globe. Meanwhile, next week sees the premiere of a new film recounting the story of the Virgin Mary's appearances at Fatima in Portugal to three young shepherd children back in 1917. Entitled Fatima, the movie will be released on Friday, August the 28th in both the United States and Portugal. Directed by Marco Pontecorvo, it's been released in theatres as well as digitally through the video-on-demand service Picturehouse. Among those starring in the big screen production are the actors Joaquim de Almeida and Goran Visnic. They help reenact the story of the apparitions of Our Lady to the 10-year-old shepherdess Lucia dos Santos and her two young cousins Francisco and Jacinta Marto. The music for the film is the creation of the Italian composer Paolo Buonvino and features a new song performed by the Italian opera singer Andrea Bocelli entitled Grazia Plena. Prayer is the best antidote against temptation. That's the message of Pope Francis, made in a letter marking Brazil's first ever National Week of Consecrated Life. In a written address to the President of the Conference of Religious of Brazil, the Holy Father urged consecrated men and women to give priority to prayer in the midst of all their activities, certain, he said, that the person who keeps his gaze fixed on Jesus learns to live and to serve. He then asked them to consider whether Jesus was their first and only love, as they promised in their vows. If the answer was yes, he said, they will find themselves empowered to love all people who cross their paths in both truth and mercy. Violence against Catholic churches and property cannot be met with silence. So says Archbishop Samuel Aquila of Denver in the United States. Writing on his diocesan website, Archbishop Aquila laments the recent wave of attacks upon Catholic parishes and statues across the US. He said that Catholics should respond to such destruction with prayers for the vandals' conversion and by persistently making known, quote, the freedom and flourishing that the Catholic faith brings to countless people. He also noted that those who denounce the Catholic Church most often are condemning what they think the Church to be rather than what the Church actually is. Archbishop Aquila concluded by inviting everyone to participate in the Archdiocese of Denver's Rosary Crusade, which began on August the 15th. Catholic parishes and institutions should be places of acceptance, care and healing for those with mental health issues. That's the message from the Bishops of Australia in their annual social justice statement. Entitled To Live Life to the Full, Mental Health in Australia Today, the statement stresses that poor mental health is not a moral failure, the result of a lack of faith or of weak will. Hence the Bishops call for understanding and support for anybody suffering from mental illness. The statement also recognises the toll which COVID-19 restrictions are having on the mental health of many due to increased isolation, anxiety and unemployment. Finally, back to the United States, where Bishop Robert Barron of Los Angeles has received an honorary doctorate from the Franciscan University of Steubenville in Ohio. The awarding of a doctorate in catechetics and evangelization is in recognition, says the university, of Bishop Barron's use of social media and, quote, every technological tool available to proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. It was bestowed upon him at the university's 72nd Baccalaureate Mass and academic convocation ceremony last Friday. Bishop Barron was the principal celebrant at Holy Mass. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, the event was held on the university's baseball field, with attendance limited to 278 members of the class of 2020, invited dignitaries and participating faculty and staff. Family members of the graduates watched the ceremony via live stream at various locations across the campus. The commencement address was delivered by Sherry Weddle, the co-founder and executive director of the Catherine of Siena Institute in Colorado, and the author of the book Forming Intentional Disciples. She also received an honorary doctorate in catechetics and evangelizations. Congratulations to all graduates and to both of the new doctors. Well, that's all for now. Do join me next time for some more headlines from around the globe. Until then, may God bless you. Shalom.